Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first guest speaker of MKT 365 Sports Sales and Selling. I'm really excited to have our guest today. Casey Hutson is the inside sales manager at the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so I'm really excited to have her join us, give you a little bit of different perspective from the NHL, and really hopeful that you guys will be able to really get some insight on her role at the team, how she got there, and maybe best advice for looking to get into sports. So welcome, Casey.
I was like, well, thank you. And I was still muted. I don't know what's going on with this technology, but yeah, thank you so much for having me, for connecting. I know we originally connected via LinkedIn, just the power of technology nowadays. But yeah, I'm really excited to speak with you all. Out of curiosity, does everybody call you Professor Lutz, or like, what are we calling you? Is it Lutz?
I really don't care what anybody calls me.
I'm just curious.
Most people just call me JP or Mr. Lutz, or I don't.
Okay.
The funny thing is, Casey, and that's a great question. It's so funny to me to think of myself as a professor, because I'm not an academic person. I'm a sports person.
Yeah.
So it always kind of takes me back a little bit when everybody says, "Hey, professor," and I'm like, "Who are they talking to?" And then,
Yeah.
but no, whatever. I'm very easygoing as it
Yeah.
relates to
I'm
that.
always curious.
Yeah.
Love it. I see Giovanna had the Stanley Cup right there. I love that. Cool. Well, really excited to speak with you all. I like to make these kind of things as interactive as possible. I know when I was in your seat, sometimes it's super boring to just have somebody speak incessantly for 30 minutes. However, I've never had somebody from a professional sports team talk to me at the same time. So like, if you are bored, like, why are you taking this class? You know what I mean? No, I'm kidding. But really excited to get to know you guys. So I'll start off with a little bit about myself, and then I'd love to go around the virtual room and just hear your names. Obviously I can read them, but I'd love to hear it from you, like who you are, what year you are, and why you're taking this class and what you hope to gain from me. And then I'll kind of keep it open for you to ask me stuff, and we'll go from there. And I'll try to offer as much as I can within this 30 minutes, but I'll also challenge each and every one of you to connect with me on LinkedIn afterward and set up an additional time to talk to me whenever you want. I'm here as a resource, and when I say it, I mean it. So definitely take advantage of it. So yeah, starting off, my name is Casey Hutson. I am the manager of inside sales here with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've been in the NHL alone for coming up 2 years. It feels longer than that. I've been in the sports industry for about 7 years, full-time total. And then obviously before that, when I was in college, undergrad, I interned and volunteered for free. So I don't really count that as much as like being in this role full-time, but we'll get right into it. So I'm originally from South Jersey, and then I moved to Pensacola, Florida when I was in first grade. So I always like to say I'm kind of like a hybrid human being. Like, I feel like I have the best of both worlds. Like, I'm a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan, but then I got to grow up by the beach. So it's like, I just feel like I'm very cool. But yeah, so all my family is near where you guys are right now. So it's really cool. When I connected with JP, I was like, I can tell you're literally like in Philly or like South Jersey. And he was like, what? So we just kind of went from there. But yeah, so grew up in Florida. Growing up, I always wanted to go into politics or sports. And you're probably thinking like, why? So my grandmother worked for the US Embassy for 11 years. So she worked with George H.W. Bush, and a lot of dignitaries. She lived in Paris, France for 4 years. She lived in China for 4 years. And then in a couple of other places, and then lived in DC ultimately. So she really inspired that drive in me. And then, not to get political, but I always tell everybody, I ended up choosing the sports route once a certain campaign in 2016 started. I just felt like it was looked at as a joke on both parties, and even the, all three parties, right, left, in the middle. And I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the sports route. Like, I don't want to be part of a laughing stock career, which I guess you could say sports may be a laughing stock, who knows? So that's where that kind of happened. So I have a really big why and why I do what I do. And that has a lot to do with family. For me growing up, no matter how busy we were, every single Sunday we made it a point to get together to watch the Philadelphia Eagles. And I could always count on the Eagles to have my family together, my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. So the Eagles to me is more than just a brand, it's my family. And as I get older, a lot of those family members have passed away. And so when I see the Eagles now even more, it's just, you think of all the good memories flood through your head as a kid. So that's really why I wanted to get into sports. I wanted to offer that to the general public, and so forth. So I'll get into why I chose sales specifically, because like I said, I want to make sure this is interactive for every one of you and it's beneficial. So I started off interning and volunteering for our minor league baseball team in Pensacola, Florida. How many of you have heard of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos? And you can just put your hand up. Anybody? Dang. During COVID, they did like an Airbnb. So they hit, I think, Sports Center, because they were the first team to do that. They had an Airbnb in the locker rooms. Dang. But they are the AA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. When I was there, they were AA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds at the time. But started off there, had great experience. I did everything. I was the mascot. I was shooting t-shirts into the stand. I was working 90 hours a week, everything you can think of. The reason I chose sales is because I had this moment of realization. My one position was where I had to go get fans out on the field in between each inning, and they had to do sponsorship activation. So they had to we had a French fry toss for a local fast food restaurant. And so I had to get fans to do that. And I remember having this moment where I was looking out into this sold out stands for this minor league baseball team. And I just thought to myself, if it weren't for the fans, I wouldn't have this role right now where I can have fans help out with sponsorship activation. And then I remember thinking to myself, how do I make sure people always have a job? How do I make sure no matter what, there are fans in the stands? And then I thought to myself, I guess that's sales. I didn't have this class that you guys have right now. I had to teach myself this. I was a PR communication major from University of West Florida. And so I was okay, I got to get into sales. Well, I don't know how to sell. Well, I don't know what to do. So literally just did my own research. I went on Teamwork Online. I started looking up sales positions, learned about inside sales. I was okay, this seems like what I'm qualified for. It's entry-level sales. They teach you everything. It's developmental. Okay, cool. So I applied to all the inside sales positions. Then I went on LinkedIn. This is in 2017 now. So I was about 6 months, 7 months graduated from college at this point. So it wasn't directly right after college. It was about 7 months after I graduated. So I was applying to all these inside sales positions in 2017. Then I would go on LinkedIn and connect with the hiring managers, and I would try to find any sort of what is the word I'm looking for? I would try to find anything on their LinkedIn pages where they were promoting their program, inside sales program. I wanted to see kind of actual evidence of what they were doing. Are they promoting their reps? Are they actually what does this look like? There's only so much I can see. And so this has a lot to do with what I am going to go over now. Never look at the team brand, go for the people, and the brand just helps itself. And I'll get into it in a little bit if we have time, but obviously the Pittsburgh Penguins are a marquee brand. You think of Sidney Crosby immediately and Mario Lemieux. But for me, I came here because of the people. And then you throw on Sidney Crosby and the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's too good to be true. You're an idiot if you don't want to work here at that point. It's just, if there's good people here on top of the brand. So ultimately ended up in the NBA for my first inside sales position. Best program I've been through, and that leads me to where I'm at now. At the time when I was in inside sales there, the senior director of ticketing is now the SVP of ticketing here. So him and I reunited, and that comes a lot with the personal relationships and always maintaining relationships no matter what. And so, we're reunited, and we're really bringing the tools to success here, just like we had at the former team we were at. And I'm always say, I'm a walking testimonial that the right program works, because I'm now an inside sales manager. And I've been doing this, for 6 years. I was selling and servicing accounts, and now I'm teaching the tools for success and helping the next generation. So that's kind of a quick story from me. I've been with the team since March, moved here from sunny South Florida. I was originally with the Florida Panthers. Before that, I was with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Before that, during COVID, I was getting my master's. And then before that, UCF Athletics after I was in the inside sales program in the NBA. So kicking it to you guys, everybody go kind of around the room and again, tell me like your first and last name, what year you are, and why you're in this class, and like what you think about sports and what you're hoping to get out of this today. And I guess we can start with Tyler Goodwin.
Yeah, how's it going? My name's Tyler, as you just said. I'm a senior, and I guess I'm kind of taking this course. I've always had an interest in sports, getting involved in sports. So a lot of the classes I have taken have been very broad, like sports law, esports. I took with Professor Lutz as well.
Never even had those. I'm so jealous of you.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to see what it's like from the sales point of view, because I know Professor Lutz did work with the Eagles and sales and that type of stuff too. So I feel like there's a lot of information to take in from taking this class.
Yeah, love it. And then I'll say the names, I guess. Brendan Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm Brendan. I'm a senior sports marketing major. Taking this class because I want to work in professional sports after graduation. So I think this is kind of helping me decide what I want to do.
Love it. Justin Bakley.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a senior. I study BI and sports marketing. So I took this class really because I want to work in sports and see if sales is for me. I know it's a good job, so we'll see.
Love it, Justin. Adrian, say your last name and then you go.
Yeah, my name's Adrian and my last name's Opsy. It's a weird
Nice.
name. Yeah, but I'm a senior sports marketing major, and the reason why I'm taking this class is because I definitely want to like dip my toe and figuring out what I want to do in this and like within sports. Because I feel like sports are like very community oriented, and that's like a huge part. Like the team and customer, like the fans, I think that's like a huge relationship. So I think that's another reason why I want to take this class.
Love it. And I think what's really important about what the four of you have said so far is you're trying to figure out if this is something for you. And that's really important because you're being genuine. Like you want to make sure this is something you're passionate about. Like I wouldn't be in this role if I wasn't passionate. A lot of the times people I interview and candidates I speak with have this mindset of I want to get my quote unquote foot in the door. First of all, never say that. I can tell you right now, you're going to be like, that team's not calling you back. Reason being is because this isn't an internship inside sales. It's not an internship. It's a 10 to 12 month program full time of revenue generation. Like you've got to generate revenue. You are learning the tools to succeed. Like I'm talking email templates, how to pitch on the phone, how to ask for the sale, how to hold yourself conversationally, and how people truthfully buy from people most of the time. And so at the end of the day, like if you think this is a way to get close to the players or be in marketing or something, like it's so far from the truth. And you're only going to do yourself a disservice and the team you're talking to if you end up getting the role. And then it won't be as cool to be under the same roof as Sidney Crosby because you're miserable in your day to day. You're miserable making 100 outbound calls a day and having to be on for 8 hours minimum. So I love that the four of you so far have been truthful and have just said, like, I just want to see if this is something I want to do. And that's going to take you really far. All right, Scott Varelli.
Yeah, Verrilli. So I'm
What's up, Scott?
sports marketing major. I'm also a senior from Wilton, Connecticut. And I think the reason why I'm taking this class because it is a great way to learn about one of the revenue streams in a business that I'm very passionate about getting into. Because, every kid dreams about like playing for a sports franchise and when you're a kid, but now that we're kind of growing up and a lot of kids like me, not that good at sports, try to figure out the next best thing. And I think it's pretty cool that I have this option.
I agree. And then I got Emily. I pronounce your last name?
Yeah, I'm Emily Cooney. I am a senior sports marketing major, and I'm basically taking this class because I think I know what I want to do. I think I want to go along the sports law line, but I still want to make sure I'm well-rounded in the industry and getting all the information that I can.
Love it. Colin, No last name.
My name's Colin Gieber. I'm a junior sports marketing major. I'm from Jersey as well.
What part?
Central, like Ocean County.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm taking this class because, I mean, one, I love sports. It's like my favorite thing. I'm always watching sports and doing stuff sports related. And I'm not exactly sure, what field exactly I want to go into. So I'm just taking a bunch of different sports related classes, kind of trying to narrow down, what I want to go into.
Love it. And then Giovanna.
Hi, I'm Gia D'Antonio. I'm a senior sports and food marketing major. And I took
You
this,
say food?
yeah. Mhm.
What does that mean?
So St. Joe's has like a really good food marketing program. So it's basically just like working with different companies and sort of stuff like that. Originally, I did sports and food marketing because I wanted to work for Aramark, kind of like in like the sports venues and everything.
Yep.
But now kind of leaning more towards like the marketing, just sports marketing rather than food. Currently I'm an intern at the Phillies in their sales ticketing office. So kind of seeing if I want to go that route or more of like a marketing special events kind of different way.
Love it. Taylor Vogel.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm a current senior here, sports marketing major. I'm taking this class because I want to do marketing. I don't know if it's sports necessarily yet. I am very interested in sports. But sales is a big part of marketing, so it's definitely an important foundational class to take. So
Love it. And then we got Donald Adams.
Yes. So I'm also a sports marketing major. So I think this one of the reasons I took this class, I think it was required for the major, but also yeah, I think it was, but I think all these courses, like other people talking about sports law, things of that sort, I think they all come together. And I think this class included, like everybody else was saying, will help me understand more about, even if I work in a completely different sector of sports, having a general knowledge in every single asset will make you a stronger asset in your wherever you work. So I think that was probably one of the things that I also drew me to this class.
I love it.
And sports in general, yeah.
Yeah. Out of everybody, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Out of the 10, 4, 8, yeah, 9, 10. Other than Gia, like who else is interning right now with different anything sports related, whether that's virtually, like who else is interning or volunteering or just assisting with any other like sports entity right now? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 6. Okay. So no class, and I don't know if JP's gonna like this or not. He probably will. No class is gonna teach you your passion of what you want to do. You have to physically go out there and figure it out for yourself. Like for me, I figured out sales was my passion because I did every single thing in minor league baseball. Like I did everything I would have done at any other sports team. It could have been the NBA, it could have been NHL. I did it all. I did promotions. I did essentially marketing, and I realized real quick, marketing is not for me. It's a lot of busy work. And I could be completely wrong. So whoever watches this and later on, I don't mean it that way. That's just my personal opinion, because you could argue with sales is very much busy work, because it is. But for me, I like had that tough conversation with myself, but I physically just put myself in the weeds to see what I liked and did not like. Like you can read all day long. No class is going to give you your passion. You can get inspired, but like, you have to physically put yourself out there. So I think all of you are seniors. You still have so much time on your side, like so much time. NHL season starts next month. NBA is next month. Football just started. It really doesn't matter when the players are on the field, because the players have nothing to do with you. You're helping the players, if anything, with whatever you do, whatever department. Like for us, we're helping the salary cap. The more revenue we generate, the more money we have ensuring for the fan experience, but also to get more future Sidney Crosbys, Malkins, Latangs, and so forth. So really what I want to challenge you all now as you start this class is like, get out there, get your name out there and start volunteering as much as you can and start setting up conversations with people in different departments. That's how you're going to figure out what you want to do. And for Mr. Donald here, I think it's pretty sick you are taking this class. I know it was required, but I think you're going to get a lot out of this just from hearing from different guest speakers and the connections JP has. Like him alone, you guys should be very thankful you have him as a resource right off the bat. Like working in the NFL for 13 years is really, really like that's almost unheard of nowadays. Like you don't hear that very often. So you have a resource at your fingertips that most people would love to have. So I would consider yourselves very fortunate. I know a few of you mentioned marketing. Sales is marketing. Marketing is sales. So when you all think of marketing, like what are you thinking of? And you can answer. I can't remember who all said it, but like what do you think marketing is right off the bat?
I would say like advertisements, promotions, like coming up with activations.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Come on.
Like the methodology by getting the word out about our products.
Yeah. So you're right. And what's cool about like sales is you're the voice for the hard work behind the scenes. So for me, I've got a team of 10 out there right now, and most of them are recent college graduates. I think the furthest one I have right now, she's 13 hours away from home. She's from Minnesota. I think she went to like University of Wisconsin-Madison, but she's crushing it. And like, yes, she follows the script and the blueprints that I put out there for a tools to success, but like you guys, I mean, like she just can hold the conversation. And really what it comes down to from sales is people buy from people. You know, like the hand raisers are already going to be here, right? Like I'm an Eagles fan. I don't need a sales rep calling me to try to get me to buy tickets. The only reason I don't have tickets is because I live 5 hours away. Like you don't need to call me. What I challenge my team with is let's attack the public that live here that have never been to the arena, because we're more than just hockey. We have concerts and events. Today we have Old Dominion here. Do you guys know who Old Dominion is? Okay, I thought they were a Christian rock band. I didn't know they were country. I'm an idiot. So my team's going tonight. They're trying to get out early and go pregame together. I'm like, nah, we got phone calls to make, you know. But we are more than just hockey. And on top of that, even when you're here to watch a hockey game, it's more than hockey. Like we went from having one of the smallest jumbotrons in the league to this off season. We have $30 million renovations happening. So we have a brand new premium area underneath the stands that before that was storage unit for chairs. We have that now, and we have one of the second, I think we're like number 2 in the NHL now out of like 30 teams with the largest scoreboard. Like it's an experience when you come out here and it's fun. We've got like a DJ, we've got theme nights. We have the Flyers here, and typically every single year that's our St. Patty's Day game. And you guys know what it's like St. Patty's Day in Philly. And so like that rivalry here, are you kidding me? It is fun. Like you want to be in the building. We have like an Irish band pregame. We have like drink specials, I think. Like it's sick. Like you want to be out here for more than just what you think it is. And that's my job as a sales rep. I probably just sold you guys on an interest at the very least. Like you're probably interested, and that's the role of us. Like we are just echoing all the hard work that marketing puts in, everybody, operations, hockey ops, even. We just echo the message and we put that outreach out there. The 100 calls a day, there's a science behind it. It's a numbers game. If you call 100 people to get one person on the phone, I consider that a win. You call 200 people in 2 days and one buys, that's a win. And that's why it's a numbers game. So I know it's 2:23. What questions do you guys have for me? It's always so weird being on virtual calls because it's just like silence.
Okay, Casey, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
It's something I always bring up, and I always sort of I talk about it in the class, but I also ask colleagues this question. So someone that's managing let's say a cohort of recent college graduates, let's say in theory, there's 10, you bring a cohort of 10 students. From my experience, in groups or, you know, outbound, whatever departments you want to call it, of the 10, 2 are going to exceed expectations. 2 are going to fail miserably, and the rest are going to be sort of in the middle, right? Now, I say that because the reality is that these cohorts, probably most of the 10 have the same education, the same experience, the same training. They all went through the same basic sales training. They have all the same resources. Why did 2 succeed or exceed expectations, and why did 2 fail?
I love that. We're 3 months in right now of this 10-month program. And I can tell you right off the bat, this is what's very interesting. I've got 2 on the board right now who are over 100K. And then I've got 2 on the bottom that haven't hit 50 yet. So number one, that has a lot to do with sales. Sales is a numbers game, but I can tell you right off the bat, all 10 of them I wouldn't have hired if they didn't have characteristics that I look for. And I can tell you right off the bat what that is. It's positive attitude, openness to learning, coachability, passion, and then work ethic. Did I already say work ethic? I don't know. But with that too, after you go through our onboarding, which is a lot of training and welcoming you to the team, you hit the phones and it's a lot of learning. But ultimately what separates, I would say, like the 2 on the top, or like, it doesn't even have to be like, you could have 2 exceeding that aren't even 1 and 2 on the leaderboard. It has a lot to do with your positive attitude, your work ethic, and if you're open to learning. And what that means is, like, are you taking my feedback and you're running with it? Are you asking good questions? Because if you're questioning me, that's different than asking questions. If you're questioning it and you're very closed-minded, you're not going to do well. Like, you have to be open to learning. You've got to have a positive attitude. We make positive attitude our number 1 thing because it's actually the hardest one to do. You're making 100 calls a day. That's not easy. You're getting hung up on. You're getting people telling you they're not interested. You're not selling, or you've had a really bad phone call. So it's actually the toughest thing to do is to stay positive. And that's why we make it our number 1 priority. Like, you got to stay positive or you're not going to do well. But I would say what separates the good, the exceeders, and then I would say like failing is just, you're failing if you're not trying at the end of the day. As long as you're putting in effort and you go by our 5 characteristics of a successful salesperson, we're going to go to bat for you and we're going to help you out. But I would say, going back to JP, like, it's so true. It's just like sales, like out of 10, you might have 1 continue to keep growing, or at 1 in 5 years from now, do what I'm doing and be an IS manager. But I would just say ultimately, like, it comes down to your mindset, which is your attitude and your work ethic. Like, are you putting your head down? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? And are you also going above and beyond? Like, if I tell you your minimum requirement is 100 calls a day, are you only making 100 and you're leaving at 5 o'clock? Or are you making 130, staying until 6:30 and having quality conversations and asking me how you can get better every day and pulling me aside and having me practice with you and having me role play with you and help you with objections you're hearing on the phone so I can help you rebuttal them better. Those are the people that are always going to succeed. And that comes down to your passion too. I hope that answered that.
No, it's great. It's great. I think that's how almost exactly how I would answer it. I've seen, to your point, the ones, from my experience, the ones who exceed are the ones that do everything they're told to do, and then have there's something that says, I got to do something extra, whether that's at night at 7 o'clock going to a networking event, volunteering at a nonprofit, sitting on a board, going back to their alma mater and speaking, whatever they can do. Again, and I've told this with these students in sales, you're always prospecting, even when you're out socially with friends, when you're out, on the weekends doing something fun, you're still going to be prospecting at some level. So
always. And going back to your point, what I'll touch on is, do you look at this as a job or as a career? Because if you look at this like a job, you're coming in at 8:30 and you're rolling out of here at 5 p.m. If you're looking at this like a career, you're coming in 8 o'clock latest, staying till 6 o'clock earliest, and you're consistently getting feedback, you're practicing, you're reading the books, everything. So is this a job or a career for you? When I was in inside sales, it was a career. I made the most phone calls every single day. I did everything I could to separate myself and set myself up for success. And I would say it worked. I would say that it worked because even after being there for 9 months in the program, my senior director at the time, who's now a senior vice president, remembers my name, remembers my work ethic. And it was a no-brainer for us to reconnect to see if this was a good fit for me. So yeah, it comes down to your mindset at the end of the day. And I, again, challenge you, your passion. Do you genuinely want to do this, whether it's sales, marketing, operations, law? Do you genuinely want to do it and have a passion for it? Or do you want to just do it because it's cool? Because it's all cool, but do you also have a passion to where like you're the expert? That's what I would like leave you with today.
What other
Nobody has a question or anything?
what other questions? I know you guys have some questions. Don't be shy now. You've already spoke.
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
Scott.
So, I would imagine you're a senior in college again. What are your like first steps in order to be successful for us?
Yeah. Right off the bat, I'm making sure that my resume stands out. And if I didn't have the luxury to be able to work for different teams, I'm going on LinkedIn and I'm networking with as many teams as I can to show them, hey, my resume may not show that I was with different teams, but guess what? I had to put myself through college and I worked part-time jobs. I didn't have time for that. However, I'm doing my due diligence now by reaching out to you, picking your brain, and getting as much knowledge as I can. I'm Scott. You just separated yourself. Like, holy shit. Like, you just reached out to me and took initiative. I love that. That's what I always say. Like, if you don't have the luxury to be able to have a resume that stands out, which most of us do, let's be real, you can still do that. Here's another thing too, and I want to talk to this class again if we're able to, because I want to get into like resume building and interview tips. So can you schedule me another time to talk again for that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what your syllabus looks like.
Love to. This class, when's this class officially? This class officially over. We have. I always go over, and they always hate me. 2:40. So we have about 10 minutes left. If you're okay, Casey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Scott, right off the bat, do that. Everybody needs to write this down right now. Your resume should only be one page, black and white. Like, it does not need to have colors on it. It does not need to like. So there's one girl on my team that has no idea this, and I'll probably never tell her. One girl on my team, I almost didn't even schedule a initial phone call with because her resume was like blue and white, and it had like some fancy font off of Teamwork Online. I don't know why. I don't know why I still ended up talking to her, because I'm a stickler when it comes to the Penguins. Like, I'm very big on protecting the brand and not just getting crazy fans in here. I don't know what it was, and I have to go back and look, but for some reason I still decided to reach out to her and give her a time to connect and then do the screen call. And she blew us all away in her interviews. But I can tell you right now, like, I was very close to not even like connecting with her because of her resume, because it wasn't black and white. It wasn't Times New Roman, or I think it's Calibri, but I still did for whatever reason. And she's on my team now, and she's great. She has no idea I almost didn't reach out to her. Now when it comes time with this program coming up, if there's no spots for her here, the first thing I'm going to do is work on her resume with her and make sure it is one page, black and white. She's got her numbers on there from her time here. And it's Times New Roman, and there's no fancy stuff on it. Now, that's of course speaking for sales and most things in sports. It could be a little bit different for obviously creative services. Like, if you're trying to be a graphic designer, I'm assuming your resumes look a lot different because you want to show that you are very creative. But for us coming right out of college, always make sure it's just very standard black and white. Connect with the hiring manager on LinkedIn, and reintroduce yourself and attach your resume that way too. Who else?
Come on.
Justin, what do you got?
What's it like working for the rival Penguins since growing up as a Philly fan?
You know what's funny? I never cared about hockey or the NBA growing up. I was just Phillies, Eagles. I don't look at it any other way. My cousins grow me. Like, I'm like, oh, can I send you a onesie, a little Penguins onesie? He goes, hey, I love you, and we're so proud of you. Don't effing send that to me. It's going to stay in the drawer or the trash. He goes, it'd be the same thing if you sent me a Cowboys onesie. I go, oh, is it really? Like, he's like, yeah, they're a rival, dude. I'm like, my bad. It's fun. Like, this is a sick brand. Our ownership is Fenway Sports Group. So they own the Boston Red Sox, Liverpool, Roush Racing. LeBron James is like a minority stakeholder. Like, it's a really, really cool experience. And they just became ownership December of 21. So the resources right off the bat for me coming in here are just nothing I've seen before. I mean, you never hear of teams really doing a $30 million renovation in the off season. Like, it's insane. It is really cool here though. This is hockey town. Like, you think of Eagles and like the fandom there, I would argue like the fandom base for the Eagles is very much like that here with the Penguins. Like, it's Steel City, it's blue collar, it's hardworking people here that when they get off work, they're throwing on their jersey and they're coming in this arena to watch some damn hockey. Like, it is really, really cool to be a part of. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it is really cool. I think the Flyers, they have a great leadership staff there. I'm connected with a lot of them and they fire me up. I absolutely love them over there. They're great. So you guys have the luxury of being really close to them, like, hit them up. They're awesome over there. But I would say here, like, it's amazing. Just the fandom here and how deep it runs. And just having Sidney Crosby is pretty cool. Like, I don't ever really get starstruck. I actually went to an Eagles game in October and I was in the tunnel where they come and they walk out and everything. And I didn't have my phone out. Like, I was very much just like standing there, and my friend that works there, he goes, "You're allowed to take pictures, like, you don't work here." And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm still in that mode. Like, this is my career. I don't need to have my phone out. I'm not a fan. But I was like, oh, you're right. I was like, duh. I was like, it just doesn't even affect me anymore. Like, even though I'm a diehard Eagles fan, I wasn't like going crazy with my phone. But I will say it is pretty cool when you think about like just the history of the Penguins and Sidney Crosby and the fact that like you get to represent that and help and add value to the brand. It is really cool to be a part of.
Hey, Case, talk to the students a little bit, because you mentioned it earlier, and selfishly, you're right. I spent probably 13 years at the Eagles because I didn't want to leave Philadelphia, and I had opportunities to go to other teams and other places, and I just didn't, because I'm from here, and my roots are now entrenched in Philadelphia.
Right.
But talk to me about the importance of being willing to travel and go to a new city for opportunities.
Yeah, it's only going to separate you even more. When you're open to relocate, you are just higher up on the candidate pool, because although it's great to have locals here, I think in my mind, I could be wrong, but the way I see it is you want somebody that's willing to take a risk to get away from familiarity at a young age. Because that shows you right off the bat the commitment. Like, you're committed. You just left your family 13 hours away. Like, you're sacrificing time away from your family and friends for a brand new opportunity, because that's how serious you take this. So whenever you're applying somewhere and they see you're from like Philadelphia or New Jersey and you're applying somewhere, I don't know, in Charlotte, North Carolina or Florida or somewhere else, or even here in Pittsburgh, 5 hours away, it separates you right off the bat. Like, this person is taking this very seriously and they're willing to relocate and they have the means to. That shows me you're going to get here and grind and work really, really hard, because you don't have time to waste. Like, you just uprooted your life a little bit. You don't have time to waste. So that's why we really, 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 all inside sales programs are really take initiative, and we really hold a higher standard to out of state and even people like 4+ hours away. That's kind of my mindset on it and why it's so important. And hey, I did it. I moved 8.5 hours away to go be in inside sales in the NBA. So it's only going to separate you even more. And you can always go back home. That's my big thing. You can always go back home. Opportunities aren't always there.
All right. Anybody else? Anything? Oh yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
Yeah, so I know you talked a little bit at the beginning about like focus more on the people of the organization or company rather than just like the brand. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. You're spending more time with these people you work with than your own family and friends. You got to make sure you like them, number one. But number two, like, what are you getting out of it? Like, what is their background and their own resume that they can prove to you of why you should be there? Like for me, I know my SVP, like I essentially learned from him. So I knew what I'm getting myself into in the sense of like, I'm only going to develop more as a first-time manager under him because I was a first-time rep under him, and that skyrocketed my career. So on top of that, our chief revenue officer, his resume alone is like 25 plus years in the industry. And I know I'm in good hands with him in the sense of what I'm going to learn and what I can provide for him. So you just want to make sure you find good people that you trust, that are going to see you at your worst, see you at your best, that you can confide in, you can be vulnerable with. When you have family problems, you want to feel comfortable enough to go to them and ask to go home. You want to know you're going to have their support each and every day. You want them to pull you aside if they can tell you're having an off day. You want somebody that genuinely loves you. I mean, that sounds really weird, right? But you want to work for people that have the best intention for you and will go to bat for you. And they'll have tough conversations out of love to make sure you're being developed professionally. So it's really, really important to find good people and not focus on the brand, especially when you first start off, because you have your whole career to start getting nitpicky. Like I'm at a really great point in my career now where I can be picky of where I want to be. I can tell people yes and no now. When you first break in to inside sales, you definitely want to make sure you put that a priority with the people. But you got to go where the opportunity is when you first start off.
Adrian, I love that. I love that question because and Casey did a great job answering it. You can tell that the Penguins have a good sales culture just by the way she answered that question. And that's one of the things I always recommend to students, ask questions about culture and people, because sales is, it's competitive. You're competing, think about it, with just like you are, if you're the backup quarterback in the NFL, trust me, the backup quarterback in the NFL wants to be the starter, right? But how does he be a good teammate and how does he support the entire team? And the same could be said in sales. And I think you want to get into a situation where there's a good sales culture because they want you to win. They want you to succeed. And that's great that she answered it in a way that I really thought was really great and
Thank you.
positive. So we're up against it. Casey, thank you so much. This was great. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. We would love to continue to stay connected to you. At some point in week 8. So at the midway point in the semester, they're actually going to be going out and making outbound calls for the athletic department.
Yeah.
So we're this will be the first class to do that. We're excited that they're going to get real life sales experience. So maybe that's a sort of an appropriate time to carve out maybe a follow-up where you could go and talk about resume building and skill sets and some of that stuff that you do day to day that may be just good best practices, good food for thought as they start to actually dive into this role.
Yeah, 100%. Please share my information with your class too.
Sure.
And connect with me on LinkedIn and start letting me know what teams you're looking at. I know we're not hiring quite yet. I think I'm looking at another June class of 10 right off the bat, but you never know. I could have 3 promotions in the next 3 months and need to fill 3 spots. And you guys are graduating in, I don't know, December or May. You never know what it looks like. So keep me in the loop with what you're doing. And I'd love to circle back with all of you as well and help you out with the outbound efforts if you'd like. And then of course, get into just how to separate yourself when it comes time to the interview and what to do and what not to do. And my biggest freaking pet peeves.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend. Go